I believe our job as the CEO of these brands, Alex, is really to help people discover entrepreneurship. What would you say to someone who's thinking about it, not thinking about it? I mean, what's your thoughts, especially somebody that's coming from a whole different country? What's your thoughts around that?
Every time I talk to entrepreneurs or people that build businesses, I ask them the same question: would you do it again? And every time I hear yes.
Yeah.
But then I ask them, how was your first year running business? And everyone says, oh my God, that was the worst year of my life. A lot of swear words, and it's a nightmare. And then I ask them again, so would you do it again? And they say yes. So it's a very amazing path, but it's a path uphill. And for someone who starts a business, they need to understand that the first year, 2 or 3, will be probably the most challenging years of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look into the future, all of those people who did it said that they will do it again if they had a chance to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be prepared to like my father said, when you go to a different country, and it applies to the business, you need to run 3 times faster than everyone else to be at the same level. When you start a business, you need to run 3 times faster to compete with those businesses that are already in the market. So it's extremely difficult. And if you want an easy path, don't do it.
Right.
But if you want to achieve something great, and if you want to be proud of yourself, it's one of the probably best things that you can, do in your life.
Welcome to Enrich Your Empire with Richie Huffman, the ultimate podcast for entrepreneurship, impactful wealth building, and effective team leadership. It's time to enrich your business and create a lasting legacy. Let's get to work. Hey guys, welcome back to Enrich Your Empire with Richie Huffman. I just had one of the best podcasts I think we've had in a long time. I spoke to, and I think what made it unique is Alex Filipuk has actually moved from Europe with computer science background to Canada looking for entrepreneurship, ends up washing dishes for several years, taking a glimpse at his future and deciding, I don't want to go work for somebody else. I'm going to go work for myself. And his path was twists and turns, just like all entrepreneurs. But Alex now has his own franchise business in siding. This is a good one, guys. Okay, guys, so welcome back to Enrich Your Empire with Richie Huffman. I have a fellow entrepreneur and franchisor on our podcast today. So we're going to be doing a lot of note sharing here, and hopefully we can give our listeners some really good tips and advice here, not only on what it takes to, come to a new country and become an entrepreneur, but not only that, but become a very successful entrepreneur. I am with Alex Filipuk. Is that the way you pronounce it, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you. And I'm lucky to be talking with him today. Alex is the CEO founder of Ideal Siding, North America's largest siding renovation company. It's amazing. I can't wait to hear your story, Alex, and siding. Like, how do you get into siding? I guess, a lot of people ask me the same question. How did you get into early education? So there's always a path of how we got here. And so I can't wait to hear yours of how you came here in the United States and got into the siding business. So why don't you kick us off with just, how'd you get started?
Sure. So I'm originally from Belarus, grew up in USSR, left because I got a government scholarship in Poland as one of the top mathematics student in the country. Studied computer science, then did master's in finance, went to work and study in Denmark, went to work in States. My first job was in Subway in Colorado. And then was looking for a place to move and moved to Vancouver in British Columbia. And when I arrived, I was looking for a church to join. And my friend, she told me, "Hey, my dad just started a church." I was like, "What do you mean your dad started a church?" Because I was going to a large old Catholic church in Poland, and for me, the concept that somebody can just start a church, I was like, "What do you mean?" So, and she invites me, and I go there, and it's like in basement of another church, and I was like, "What are you guys doing here? Like 25 people." But they were missing the fifth director to form a legal entity,
Hmm.
and they said, "Hey, do you want to join as a director of church?" So I became a director of church at 25. And one of the guys in the church was a sign installer, and he had financial issues. And I came and talked to him. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he said, "Well, I used to pay $4 a square foot to install, hardy plank, and the boss of the company I'm working for just came and said, hey guys, from next week will be $2 a square foot." So he could not work twice faster. So his salary got cut pretty much in half. And he said, "Well, my wife is studying English, so she cannot work. I have a small kid. I'm paying rent. I'm paying food. I barely can make it. So yeah, and I was doing a lot of digital marketing at that time, and I said, "Hey, I can build a website and I can get clients for you directly, so you can charge more money." He said, "Well, nobody knows you in this space. Like nobody knows who you are, so you will not be able to get any clients." And I said, "Well, that's not how it works.
He was talking
Let's give
about
it a try."
you.
He told me, nobody knows you, so you'll not be able to get any clients. But I said, "Well, that's not how it works. Just
So
let
he's
me give it a try."
so
And
so here you are. You're willing to help this guy, and he's telling you basically you can't help him. No, thank you.
no, he just he was skeptical that you can just start a company and get clients. You need to build up some um, name in the industry
Right.
for you to attract people. And it's a truth for some of the sectors of the industry, but not when it comes to single family renovation business. In single family renovation, people are typically just looking, which company has better reviews or which company they can find really, or which company picks up the phone. Um, so this is how I got introduced to siding. I had no idea about, what siding is and so on and so forth, but I was helping him, and we got so many leads to do siding that I like he's kind of true because he introduced me to his chief installer, the guy who was running kind of his crew that he was part of. So I was working with this chief installer, sending him clients, and then I had so many clients that I started sending into other four companies in Vancouver, and then I started sending them started building the same kind of structure for Calgary, and then Toronto, and then Denver, and then it kind of step by step expanded across multiple markets and states in Canada.
So you became a lead generator for the siding industry.
That was very simple to me because with computer science and finance, those are two pieces that you actually need to run proper digital marketing because you need to know technical aspects of it, how the servers, run, how the website should be, how they calculate conversions, but also financial, like what makes sense at what, like for which company, why, and so on and so forth. You need to calculate that actually you're not burning money, that actually you're bringing money based on this marketing. So when I was in Europe, I was working for PayPal, and I came there as a computer science guy, but they put me in a marketing department, and they tell me, "Hey, you'll be in charge of sending email marketing." And like
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember, you were getting like before people were getting a lot of emails from PayPal when it was like a popular way of transferring money, and I was sending 9 million emails every week. So they put a like young guy who had no idea what's going on in charge of sending 90 million emails a week. And then they said, "Well, we also need to run ads, like Google ads for the whole country." I was like, "All right." So I was learning, but I was learning kind of from the best. It was at the time that eBay owned PayPal, so we got a lot of people from eBay helping us. So it was a very good school for me to learn all about digital marketing. And then um, when I came to Canada, I couldn't find a job. I was washing dishes in a couple of restaurants. I was and I started helping people with websites and then marketing, and slowly I got to the point where I just was running my own business because nobody will offer me a job, like a decent job. Like my highest salary that I was getting at that time was probably like maybe $12 an hour. So
With all this knowledge,
not much comparing to what potential business can do for you
how old are you at this time?
right now.
No, during this.
Oh, that time.
Yes.
So I moved to Canada was when I was 25, and
25.
then the whole journey with signing I started pretty much same year. And then the first real agency business had when I was 28.
Okay. Okay. So you have now you become a real digital marketing agency. And so again, it started with this gentleman at church that says, "Hey, I'm really struggling with my siding business." So, and then you go off to really he can't handle all the leads that you're generating for him, and you kind of discover, hey, this is a business within itself of this digital marketing advertising. And so do you just stick at that point? Are you just focused on the siding industry with these leads, or did that expand?
We actually started. So when I was talking to him, I already was doing lead generation for other industries. So
Okay.
one of the biggest industries for translation. When I was translating my own documents to apply for residency in Canada, I had Russian documents and Polish documents. And for Russian documents, I paid $20 per page, and it was done in one day. And for Polish, I paid $100 per page, and it was done in 1 week. So I thought, why are those are the same kind of documents? Why is it such a big difference? And the difference was that here I came directly to translator, and here I went through the company. And I thought, well, what if translators will get those clients directly? So the clients can pay $30 or $25 per page instead of 100, because for immigrants, to file those documents, it's like half thousand to $1,000, and it's a big deal when they come and they have they're trying to find a job and so on and so forth. So I called translators and said, "Hey, I'll like I have those websites, and people will be calling you," and they're like, "Yeah, we're not interested." And I told them it's like $200 for a website, because I was building a website every 2 hours. Like I streamlined the process. It's like $200 and you get a website. Like, no. So I thought, well, what if I put them higher up in Google? I'll do some SEO. So I did some SEO, and I calling them, hey, now this website is on first page of Google. They're on all those keywords that you want. But now it's not $200. Now it's $300. And they're like, no. And I was like, well, it's a failed business, right? Nobody wants your product. Nobody wants your service. But because they were on the first page, people started calling. And people calling me is like, hey, can you translate me this document? I was like, well, 1 second. So I'm calling translators and I said, well, people are calling me. What if I just send you all their info? Would you pay me for that? They're like, yeah, we'll pay you like $5 per page. It's like, awesome, let's do it. And then they paid me, of course, way more than $300 per month, like or for the overall for the website, not per month. Um, and I realized that people are not willing to pay for a website. People are not willing to pay for Google positions, but they're willing to pay for clients. And this is how we started revenue-based, performance-based revenue share model. So we will build everything, we will send clients, and then only when the client will get revenue from leads that we send, only then they'll share part of it. And then, I fall into the siding space, but then I thought, well, in siding, every check is about 20,000. In translations, it's about $100. But finding a lead is actually not that much different. And not like even on cost of acquisition, it's not that much different. So I thought, what if we charge percentage of 20,000 rather than $100? And this is how we ended up building those verticals in construction industry for windows, for fence, for masonry, for stucco. Like I think we opened like 40 verticals. And of course we closed like 35 of them, but we were that was kind of,
Trying to figure it out.
yeah, we were trying things and see what sticks, kind of thing, what works.
Yeah. Let me ask you, I have to ask you this question. So, in you telling your story, I mean, did you set out to be an entrepreneur? I mean, when you left Europe, you had your degrees and you were moving to Canada, I'm sure, for to land a job somewhere, with your education and you found that hard to find. And so tell us a little bit about that, right? I mean, you were at a crossroad. Do I continue to try to find a company that I can work for, or I take this other path into entrepreneurship? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. So when I was working for PayPal, one of the things I did, I took every VP and every country manager that I could find between eBay and PayPal to have lunch with them. So I would just go to them and say, hey, can I grab lunch with you? And surprisingly, people would say yes. And I would go and have lunch with them. And I was asking them questions like, where do your kids go to school? How much do you pay for school? Which car do you drive? Do you like your car? Which car do you want? Where do you live? What does your wife do? And those were guys like ex McKinsey, ex AT Kearney, who are, this VP of, like, imagine VP of eBay for like Central Eastern Europe. Like, it's a great position, great salary. And I thought, if I do really, really, really well, and I became one of the top students, and I got a job at McKinsey, and I worked really, really hard, and I sacrificed everything, including my family, for 7 years, and then I go to become this VP. This is my life. I was like, and basically it went to the point that, well, yes, I have good salary, but I pay a lot of taxes, and I need to spend a lot of money on the style of life that I have, and then I don't have any much left over. And then I want to drive Jaguar, but I drive Toyota because Toyota is a company car, and nobody will give me Jaguar, and I don't have money to buy Jaguar. And I was like, well, if I do really, really well at this path, this is the best I can get. Like it like those guys are the best. Like ex McKinsey country managers, like that. This is it. Like that's the ceiling. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe I don't want to go this path because it doesn't lead me to what I want. And I wanted actually to be able to afford Jaguar or whatever car or whatever, what I don't know, vacation I wanted.
Yeah.
Then when I went to Canada, I sent hundreds of resumes. The only jobs I could get were dishwashing jobs, and when I and it was funny. Like I go to restaurants and say, "Hey, I want to work as a dishwasher." That's like, "Well, we aren't hiring right now. Okay, here's my resume. Call me." And then I go next day. It's like, "So I'm here. Like, did you look at my resume?" It's like, Why are you applying here?" "Oh, because I live next door." "Oh, it makes sense. You're hired." I was like, "This is great." I feel at peace because even if nothing works in my life, I can always go back and be a dishwasher, and they get food for free, and it's actually a nice job. Like, so I went
How,
to.
how does that how does that motivate you today, Alex, knowing that?
It gives me peace that if things fall off, if God doesn't bless this business, like I always have a job. I always can bring food to my family, and I should be able to pay rent with this. Like it's I don't know. It's to me, I have this like foundation that I can always go back to, and I'll be the best dishwasher they can ever find.
It's so funny. I could totally relate to your story. You got a glimpse of the future, right? You looked into the future and said, "What do I want?" And I don't want not have the lifestyle that I want for me and for my family. And but what's the worst case scenario? And when I was coming up, Alex, my worst case scenario, because I ran the exact same tape in my head. That's why I'm sitting here smiling. My worst case scenario, if I screwed all this up and was not blessed, that I would be homeless. That would be the worst thing that could ever happen. And then I convinced myself that I would never be homeless because I could always go back and live with my parents. So, with that comfort, as you're calling it, as that comfort, that was my fuel to move forward. And so yours was I could always be a dishwasher, worst case scenario, and regroup and restart, but I would never be hungry or I would never be homeless. So
Yeah, there are always
so funny.
options.
Yeah, it's so funny that our stories are identical in the way we looked at the future and said, "What do I want?" And I want the best that life can offer, and I want the best for my children. I want a certain lifestyle, and I'll never be able to accomplish that or have that on the path that I'm on right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you had that come to Jesus talk with yourself, which then gave you the green light to kind of move forward and let's go. So
Yeah.
what was the next stage for you?
Um, I built a couple of different businesses, most in digital marketing. So I was this proper digital nomad. I could spend winter in Australia or Bali, and I could travel across, like, just get in a car and drive, 101 highway to San Diego and things like this. Um, and I'd lived like this for probably like 7 years. My job was to go to coffee shop, open my laptop, look at dashboard, what was going on. We had general manager in Romania. We had 7 managers across Europe, Serbia, Croatia, and then we had a lot of, like, over 100 people working for us across Canada, States, and that was my life. And then at some point, I realized that this has some cap of how much it can grow. And I was looking for a bigger business. And I thought, I have all those leads for starting. I know exactly how the business model should work. Because I saw too many companies fail at, like, they grow, 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 and then they fail, grow, grow, and fail at around like 7, 8 million people, like, companies just like start failing. And I came up with the business model, and I started sharing it with guys in the industry, like those clients that I had that were selling leads. And they said, yeah, it actually makes sense. It should work. And then we built a test location, and that, like, before starting it, I was like, I want to build $100 million business. I'm not going to it if it's not 100 million. Like, it's a challenge that I want to have because I already achieved that, 100 plus people working and then this, and I want 100 million. So uh, I thought about opening 50 corporate locations, each doing 2 million, and that's it. That was my plan. Then I went to talk to Brian Scudamore, the owner of 100 Go Junk, and he explained me how franchising is actually better.
Hmm.
So that's how we decided not to do corporate, but to do franchising. And then I built first location, the test location, to test everything that presumed would work. And it worked well. We did 1.2 million first 12 months, 400,000 net before we paid our salaries, but that was, like, pretty good. And then everyone saw as well, this will never work in this market, and this market, and this market. So we opened 3 locations, those markets where it should not work, and it worked.
They were all corporate locations, Alex?
They were all corporate locations.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. And then,
Let's test the model, right?
yeah, because everyone said, well, yes, your model will work in Vancouver, but it will not work in a small town. So we opened small town. And then it will not work in Calgary, which was very devastated by economy at that time. And it worked. Or it would never work in brick market like Toronto, and it worked. So after that was like, you know what? Now we're ready to franchise, and now we're ready to expand it in other markets. And we started franchising in Canada, and franchising in Canada is much, much, much easier than franchising in the States.
Hmm.
So it was a very good training ground for us to improve things and test things and see what works, what doesn't. And then 2 years later, we were ready to franchise in States. So end of 2022, we started franchising in States.
Got it.
And before franchising in States, I also took one of my partners in one of the businesses here. We drove to Seattle. We launched the location there. We invested like 50 grand in the marketing to get, like, through the initial stage of getting leads and, getting everything up to speed. Hired a person there and tested everything in Seattle before we actually started franchising in States. So, yeah.
Got it.
So now we are on this path of, to get to 100 million, to achieve this large goal that I thought would be very, very good um, mountain to climb on.
So do you have any corporate locations now, or are they all franchise partners?
So we don't have official corporate locations, but I have personally five shares in five locations, two in States and three in Canada, and three in different markets, large, small markets. So we test a lot of things on my locations where I have shares,
Got it.
but they're not official, not official like corporate locations.
Got it. So tell me the model.
The model is we replace siding or we install siding. That's kind of we try to be the best at or building this exterior package that you want to have when you have a dream home. So our clients are typically female in their 50s, 60s, and they have an idea of how their home will look like. And we create design. So we house designers, they create design, and then we generate all the leads for our franchisees as having all this marketing data that we have and all the experience we have. And then we also find all the crews for our franchisees. So we find all the clients, we find all the crews, we create all the designs, we build all the accounts like national accounts with all the suppliers to get like the best possible pricing possible. And franchisees go there, present options to the clients, build a relationship, make a sale, and do the project management of this construction side.
So your franchise partners are really the sales force. Are they also the project managers?
Yes, salesperson, project managers, and we help them to build teams, like to hire salesperson to help operations manager once they get up to speed. But typically, franchisees start by themselves doing both sales and operations. So
Yep.
when they hire someone, they actually know how to properly manage them,
Yep.
what to expect, and how to help them.
Yep. Got it. Okay. So they may have how many jobs going on at the same time?
Typically, two to three at the same time.
Okay.
Um, our average job right now is 18,000, but it's because a lot of those guys are in the first year. In the first year, they do a lot of smaller ones. In Vancouver, when we started, our average is over 35,000
Got it.
per job. So we do a lot of those 100 plus jobs. One of our franchisees like won $4 million job last year that
Wow.
will take like 2 years to do.
Wow.
But even but by doing two, three jobs at the same time, you're hitting about $1 million a year. Like it's pretty low number of projects to worry about, to hit fairly decent number. So we build it the way that franchisee will not be over time.
Got it. Okay. So what's next? What's next for you on this journey?
I mean, the problem of being an entrepreneur is that seeing too many opportunities. So I have like five other franchise businesses that I want to start. I have like three other supply businesses I want to start. And every time I get there, I was like, no, 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 we focus on this one. So we we had a retreat with our top franchisees last year and asked them like, hey, here's the business models that I really like. What do you guys think? Which brand should be second brand for us? And we talked for 2 days and we decided we are not launching second brand. We're focusing on this one. We're going after more multi-unit renovation jobs. So there are a lot of those 2, 3 story um, apartment buildings or commercial buildings where there are really not that many companies who specialize in it. And we want our franchisees to specialize in it and do resides for those apartment buildings. Because technically they're not very different from single family homes, but there are a lot more risks involved. And we're building the support team to manage this risk.
Got it. Got it. So what advice would you give to someone? I mean, I believe our job as the CEO of these brands, Alex, is really to help people discover entrepreneurship. What would you say to someone who's thinking about it, not thinking about it? I mean,
what's your thoughts, especially somebody that's coming from a whole different country? What's your thoughts around that?
Every time I talk to entrepreneurs or people that build businesses, I ask them the same question: Would you do it again? And every time I hear yes.
Yeah.
But then I ask them, how was your first year running business? And everyone says, oh my God, that was the worst year of my life. A lot of swear words, and it's a nightmare. And then I ask them again, so would you do it again? And they say, yes. So it's a very amazing path, but it's a path uphill. And for someone who starts a business, they need to understand that the first year or two or three will be probably the most challenging years of your life. But if you look into future, all of those people who did it said that they will do it again if they had a chance to do it. So you need to be prepared to like my father said, when you go to a different country, and it applies to the business, you need to run 3 times faster than everyone else to be at the same level. When you start business, you need to run 3 times faster to compete with those businesses that are already in the market. So it's extremely difficult. And if you want an easy path, don't do it.
Right.
But if you want to achieve something great, and if you want to be proud of yourself, it's one of the probably best things that you can, do in your life.
And as we mentioned, and in order to have the lifestyle and all the things that you want for your family, all of those things are on the other side of all that hard work.
Exactly.
So I appreciate it, brother. Well, I guess I wish you all the best of luck. I think you're on an amazing path. I'm glad that your advisors are telling you, let's just stay right here for now, Alex, and which sometimes I think can be very, very difficult. But I really appreciate our conversation today. And if you're ever in the States, please come and see us. I look forward to seeing you in person and meeting you in person.
Thank you, Richie. It's amazing that what you have achieved with your business, and I appreciate what you are doing for franchise community as a whole as well.
Well, as you said, brother, it's a passion. It takes a whole lot of work, and we shared a lot of the similar stories. It's not easy, but the rewards are worth it.
For sure.
So thank you, and good luck to you and your family.
Thank you very much, Richie.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Enrich Your Empire. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn at Richie Huffman Celebrate. We've got more great episodes lined up for you, so check back with us soon. Until then, stay inspired, stay driven, and keep building your empire.